The views and opinions expressed by the guest author or speaker during this live session are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of Reader's Magnet. The content shared is for informational purposes only and does not constitute endorsement or promotion of any particular belief, ideology, or product.
Hello, authors, book lovers, and storytellers. Welcome to another awesome day here at RM Hive, and you're tuning in to Reader's Magnet's featured author interview. I'm your host, Revan, and our featured author today uses the healing power of poetry to explore the experiences that shape us and the strength it takes to rebuild. Drawing from her journey and cultural roots, she hopes to open meaningful conversations around mental health, substance use, suicide, trauma, and cultural disparities, while reminding readers that recovery and healing are possible. She is the author of The Unbroken Pieces, The Journey to Finding Myself. Let's welcome the beautiful Jessica Toucinho. Hi, Jessica. Thank you for joining us here today. How are
Thank
you?
you for having me. I'm doing well, thank you.
Yes, and you know what? I love the title of the book is, The Unbroken Pieces. So it's just like it's telling me something. So it could be about life, it could be about hope. I'm excited to know more about this. Before we go on to our questions, can you tell us about this book for just a little bit?
Yes, thank you for having me again. So this book is a compilation of poetry that I,
Mm.
put together, and the poems in themselves, it's years to write. Of course, and
Mm-hmm.
when I wrote, it was when it was happening, depending on what was going on in my life. So
Mm-hmm.
it's, I'm 39 now. It's years of poetry. I started writing a lot earlier, elementary school age, but the poems in themselves probably around 14, 15 years old. So all of the
Mm-hmm.
poems, like each poem in themselves is an event that either I
Wow.
experienced or someone in my family or a friend in that moment. So it's kind of like a moment. It captures it in writing.
Wow. An anthology of poetry. I love, you know what? The title is already interesting to me. It's poetic. You answered it already a while ago. So the unbroken pieces. So these are pieces and the unbroken. I loved it.
Thank
I
you.
love how you
And that
created
took
the
so
title.
long. Not to say it took too long, but when I was like, I want this book to reflect me, because over the years, some my friends, hey, you should write, you should put him in, you should publish a
Hmm.
book. And I was like, what would I say? What would the title be to summarize it? And then I was like, okay,
Hmm.
I am pieces of the whole, but at the same
Hmm.
time, who I am now are these pieces that are not broken. But it's also, more
Love.
to it. That's why the journey to finding myself. So kind of piecing it all together. So the way that the poems are listed in the book or written in the book in the order that they are, that's
Hmm.
the journey in itself. And
Wow.
it's written. So hopefully that's the message I wanted to convey in the book
Yeah.
itself.
I also love the fact that this book is a compilation of, different moments in your life, and these are different pieces that
Yes.
were unbroken. I love, I literally love that.
Thank
So
you.
I want to ask this question: are you already planning to make a sequel for this book?
Yes. So I am already trying to figure out the next level to this.
Mm-hmm.
Either will it be just poems? Will it be the
Mm-hmm.
expansion on these poems? I definitely also have ideas of a short series. So I definitely have a lot
Ooh.
of ideas. It's just putting it to paper. So it's nice to hear the interest in my
Mm-hmm.
journey, to be like, hey, I can write more. So that's my goal,
Yeah.
definitely, is to be able to put it all down to paper, hopefully really soon.
Yes, and I'm excited about that because from this book already I can already sense the creativity in it from the title. I love the title, by the way. I'm sorry for mentioning
No,
it.
that's
I
okay. I
really
really,
love the
really
title.
appreciate it.
It already tells the story, putting
Yes,
all
yes.
of the poems there. Love, 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 love it. So, going back to your writing journey. So, when did you first realize that you wanted to be a writer or an author or a poet?
It started off really young. So when I started school, English is my third language. So when I went to
Mm-hmm.
kindergarten, I was part of English as a second language student. So
Mm-hmm.
majority of my classmates all spoke Portuguese and English, and so to help
Mm-hmm.
us learn how to convey and express our writing and language, they would help us write stories. So I'd write it in Portuguese and then I'd write it in English. So as a child, they'd give us like these hardcover books and we'd draw on them and we'd say, this is our story. And it helped me say, like, I can write a story and other people could be interested in it. And about third grade or so, I got chosen from my elementary school, which had kindergarten through fifth grade. I got chosen to represent my school at a local like festival, and I got an award of you are a young author. So that always stuck with me, that I was like, this is really cool. It's not just I'm writing a book for my class, it's other people may be interested in what I'm writing. And I was able to read it over, the Portuguese version and the English version over the intercom at school and at this event. And then as the years went on, writing essays and winning writing contests and going through that, I'm like, okay, this isn't, I like this. It's nice to find that confidence that other people may enjoy it, so not only my passion, but that other people who are reading it are interested in more. So it's, it started off definitely at a really, really young age.
Wow, that's a really good journey right there. From a very young age, you actually found a passion of writing, and then it actually opened doors.
Yes.
I love how you actually get to have the doors open for you, and then you win this several awards, especially the Young Author Award. I love all of this.
And I
then
still have the pin, and I keep looking at that pin, and I'm like, I am a young author. Like that to me was like a motivator.
Yes, I love that. Because I know for some authors out there, it could be very hard for them to actually go out there because schedules and stuff like that. And when you actually do it, and little by little, you can actually have a body of art. So I love that this is already out there. It's already published, and I love the journey of how from a very young age you actually get better, and then this one here. Oh, I just realized right now that this is where your creativity comes from. It's from the practice from when you were young until now.
All that exposure, right? Like all the
Yeah.
exposure to it. And because of, coming from that cultural background of different, like it's nice to be able to express a journey that maybe other people don't have, you know what I mean? Or, this is, for me, is like that creative niche. Other people, it's different forms of art, dance, however it is. And for me, being able to write, like that's like when I'm in a zone, that's how I can write and express. If I'm not, it makes it really difficult. So definitely, it's definitely my niche to be able to do that.
And right now, Jessica, I want to ask, as a storyteller, as a very creative storyteller, what do you think makes a good story?
The connection. For me, a great story is the reader's connection to the book. So be it the, reading the title, be it seeing the cover, reading the description, connection for me makes the biggest difference. If you don't feel like it's something you're interested in, then you may not be able to read it or be interested in reading it at all. I know for me, when I go to pick up a book, if I immediately read the back cover and I'm like, not yet, not right now, I'm going to put it down. I'm not going to read it. Maybe later on down the line I will. But depending on where I am, how I'm feeling, I may not feel that connection to that book. So for me, it's what can I get out of the book as well? The journey it's going to take me on.
Yeah. You know what? When I was young, I always considered writing as like a superpower, like writing and storytelling itself, because it's not just putting words out there, it's also influencing other people, through stories, through your words, and through emotions. So here you're actually using a powerful kind, it's in poetry, and it actually pulls people in. So like a single line, and you can actually make them think, you can actually make them feel. And that's what I love about writing and talking to authors with such an amazing experience and tips that they can share as well to to me and new writers out there as well. And going back to publishing this book, do you have like a favorite, what was the most favorite and the most minor favorite of publishing a book?
I think the most favorite part of putting it is sometimes not realizing what I wrote. So I know that
Mm.
sounds odd, but when I write, I don't type it. I physically
Mm.
write it. So I have journals of writing. And when I was reading it, I was like, who wrote this? And I was like, oh my goodness, that was
Love
me.
that.
That was that moment. Oh wow. I didn't, not that I forgot about it, but because I get
Mm-hmm.
such in a zone, once I'm out of it, it's like I disconnect from the piece. So going
Mm-hmm.
over it to put it all together, it was really nice to kind of go back, or also reading and going, oh no, I'm not going to include that poem. Because I was
Mm-hmm.
like, that doesn't even make sense. So I think that's important too when you're writing, is so it's not all just linear. It's not, oh, this is wonderful. There are
Mm-hmm.
definitely blips in the radar. So finding that connection, finding that meaning. And so when I'm reading a poem and I was trying to put it together, I was like, does this fit? Is this,
Mm-hmm.
should this poem go first or should this poem go next? Or, and I
Mm-hmm.
think maybe that's, I guess, least favorite part of publishing is the
Mm-hmm.
stress of it all. It's
True.
like, oh, when will I get this done? Is it going to be put together? Is it going to sound nice and flow nicely? So going
Mm-hmm.
over it. And I think too, there are two poems in this book that are written in Portuguese. And some people that have written it, they were like, ooh, I don't speak Portuguese. I'm like, I understand.
Mm-hmm.
But I asked myself, I go, do I omit this? I definitely
Mm-hmm.
had a conversation with myself of, do I want this just English? Or do I
Mm-hmm.
want to include the two Portuguese poems that I wrote? And I said, well, this is part of me. So I
Mm-hmm.
need to include them. Everyone can still
Love
read
that.
them, whether or not they
Mm-hmm.
may understand it, they may not. But for me, this is part of me.
Yes.
So definitely, it's interesting, and I definitely don't want to discourage anyone who's listening
Uh-huh.
from publishing if they're like, oh, I don't know, I don't do poems, or I don't know how this works. It's the journey within yourself. It's the self-reflection of, are you
Mm-hmm.
ready? Is this the right time? Because I think over the years, when everyone was asking me, do you want to do this? Should you do this? I was like, I don't know if I'm
Mm-hmm.
ready. And then I got ready. Then it was my time when I kind of got
Wow.
everything together. So,
I kind of relate of what you said a while ago when like you were like reviewing the old poems or the old body of
mhm.
writing, and then you're like, did I write this? This is so good. And then another one's like, this is so cringe. I cannot read through
Yep.
it. So I can kind of relate to it. You actually have two journeys there that you can
Yeah.
actually explore. I love that because you explored everything and what should I do to make everything better.
Mhm.
So I love that journey of yours right there. So kudos
Thank
to
you.
that. Now I actually found one comment here that I really love to put or to ask you here. It's from Alani. She said, "Which poem in the book was the most emotional or challenging for you to write?"
Ooh, that's a great question. That's something I'll have to probably go back
Uh-huh.
and double check. But there was a few that, because, and of course, I don't want to discuss anything that may be trauma triggering to other people, because this
Mm-hmm.
book does have um, trauma. It could
Oh
be trauma
yeah.
heavy depending on how you're interpreting some poems. So there's certain ones that definitely are heavy,
Mm-hmm.
and how I wrote it, I didn't want to be descriptive in the nature where if someone goes to read it, they
Mm-hmm.
don't want to continue. So I think I was very cautious with how I was writing certain things,
Mm-hmm.
but those for me were the most emotional. I don't want to say all the
Mm-hmm.
poems were, but there were definitely some that it's kind of like it hits you. So I
Mm-hmm.
don't have a specific title to one specific poem. I
Mm-hmm.
will have to say that as a whole, it definitely can be emotional depending on how you're reading it, and how you're interpreting certain poems, I guess I would say. So definitely there's one entitled Suicide. So if
Mm-hmm.
you go to read it, like I said, it's not specifically stating this, but at the same
Mm-hmm.
time, how you're reading and understanding it, the title in itself is 347. It's a
Mm-hmm. Three,
specific
four, seven.
date, but it doesn't say suicide, right? But
Mm-hmm.
there is another poem entitled Suicide as well.
Oh, okay.
So I feel like there are various themes throughout the book
Yeah.
that could be triggering. So it's not rainbows and butterflies. Not all
Yes.
of it. The last poem,
Yes.
absolutely, it's encouraging and things like that. But
Mm-hmm.
there are some poems, that's why it is through the journey of finding
Mm-hmm.
myself that there are definitely
Yeah.
some heavy, heavy moments.
Yes. I love that this book is also like there's no filter in it as well, being a compilation of poetry, because
Hmm.
a lot of people out there will actually learn from the experiences of other people, and I
Hmm.
love that these poems are based on real experiences that you've
Hmm.
actually gone through in
Yeah.
life. So right now, I want to ask this last question. So, is your book advocating for a specific cause or agenda? And if so, what is it and why is it essential for you as an author?
That is a great question. So, by trade, I'm also a mental health counselor.
Mm,
For me, mental health advocacy, recovery is super important. Asking for help when you're not feeling well. And so,
mhm,
this book, given my journey, given things I have been on, experienced things like that, but also now where I am in my career,
mhm,
my goal is to be able to say that even those of us that have started off not speaking English, having a
mhm,
difficult time with self expression or understanding or communication, that we still have emotions, we still have feelings. There's a lot of cultural trauma, generational trauma, things that we've all
mhm,
experienced that affect us, but it doesn't necessarily mean this is who we are or who we become or entrapped in it. So this is, in a sense, like a voice for the immigrant. There's definitely a word in Portuguese that's saudade, which is the passion, the longing for that. Sometimes that the actual English word isn't there, but the feeling, the sentiment of
mhm,
missing, of being between both worlds, the culture and things like that. So this book is to help navigate and also reflect on there are people and experiences of addiction, of mental health, of domestic violence, of
mhm,
emotional abuse, things like that, our own self expression, self esteem, self worth, that sometimes it's hard to express when you're talking with someone, but when you're writing, that for me was my expression. So the goal of talking, that it's okay to talk, it's okay to ask for help. That to me is my passion, and
mhm.
hoping that other people kind of like breaking down the barriers. And I know that sounds very cliche, but reaching out for help.
Yeah.
Um, there's so much out there, so for me, that's my goal. Obviously not necessarily having people individually reach out to me
Mhm,
for a clinical opinion, because ethically can't do that, but
mhm,
that there's so much out there if people are more comfortable online versus in
mhm,
person versus on the phone. So, and there's so many language supports, right, depending on what you
mhm.
speak and how you speak. And of course, given that this is going to be shared throughout the world, I have a lot of family
True.
overseas in France and in Portugal, and it's just wonderful for them as well to see, that we can come from a small area but be able to touch so many. And that for me is
Wow.
the most important, is how can we still have that heart to heart being so
Mhm,
far apart as well. So I think this is wonderful, being able to have this outlet and this medium, being able to share my book that started off with journals,
mhm,
little things, to have it here in my hand, that I can go through and touch.
mhm,
It's like a surreal dream, but something I've wanted to do for so long, and inspiring even,
mhm.
my oldest son who wants to write a comic, so just little by little, and helping whoever I can, even just a small inspiration is so
Uh-huh.
meaningful.
Wow, I love the goal here, touch people, inspire people, and save people. So I hope a lot of people will actually get to read this book, and learn from all these experiences and, find the light as well. And right now, Jessica, I'd love to give the floor to you and the spotlight to you. Tell us where we can find the book, or if you have projects that you want to promote as well.
Yeah, so right now the projects I'm working on still aren't published. I definitely want to
Mm-hmm.
work on a series, several books put together, inspired from my family, where they came from in Portugal, and all the stories they've told me of different journeys. So the title is called, or the series is Cobblestones, but each book still has not been developed. So hopefully stay
Mm-hmm.
tuned. That will come. My book itself, on The Unbroken Pieces, is currently available on Amazon for paperback purchase, as well as the Kindle version. And if someone has Kindle Unlimited, they have to pay a membership fee, they can read my book for free, which is really exciting. But yeah, you can find it on Amazon. I do have, a Facebook and Instagram, TikTok that I try my best to update. But my goal through those as well is to discuss the journey of what an author's journey is of writing. It's not all, oh my goodness, I wrote and look, now it's published and it's a successful New York Times book. That's not how it works, So it's every day. What does that look like? Or, different inspirational things. So, and also mental health things. So I really, really hope that this can start conversations with other people. That to me is my main thing, is how to start conversations of your book is valuable too. Your journey is valuable too. Your mental health is important. Take time for you, because a lot of times we don't. We're just go, 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 go. And I'm, that's me too. So I have to take my own advice, but being able to encourage others as well. So that's definitely my message. And yeah, check it out on Amazon if you can find it, and definitely support your local authors. I think that's so important as well. Help others and support others.
All right, that's Jessica Toucinho, everybody. Get your copy of The Unbroken Pieces, The Journey to Finding Myself on Amazon. That's available on paperback and Kindle, and it's also available on Barnes and Noble. And Jessica will also be at the September event at South Dearborn Street in Chicago, Illinois. Her book will be featured in our booth, and she will be there as well, telling stories and signing copies of the book. Jessica, thank you for joining us here today. And I heard a lot about this conversation. I love it.
This is so great. And I look forward to seeing everyone, whoever is able to participate there in Chicago. So this was such a wonderful opportunity. Thank you.
Yes. And guys, let's open the pages and unravel the secrets of your personal odyssey. And I believe that your ink never runs dry. So go tell your story, storyteller. This is your host, Revan, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories. And as we say it here at Readers Magnet, we share your story with the world. Bye for now. Stay awesome.